Vlerick Business School wants to expand its international recognition and improve its brand abroad. And for that, it has set up the Brussels campus. Brussels being the capital of Belgium, where a lot of companies are located. And the way it has done is, in fact, to use a new approach, which is a sector approach, which is, in fact, looking at a particular sector and to work more closely, more interactively with that sector to create an additional lever compared to what they normally do. And the financial services is one of the sectors that have been chosen. And the purpose, of course, ultimately is to build broad relationships with the customers, add new customers, new relationships, but particularly as well attract international institutions active here in Belgium. And it has to be known that Brussels, with the European Commission and a lot of European authorities, it's very important from a regulatory viewpoint as well. And that, of course, is an additional benefit of being in Brussels, to be able to attract companies that are interested in what's going on in terms of regulations. The Financial Service Center, a bit as it says, is of course intended to the financial sector, but it's important to recognize, in fact, we cover all financial institutions, so it includes the banks, universal banks, niche banks, and retail banks, but as well the insurance companies, the asset managers, private or institutional asset managers, but as well the market infrastructures. And important as well, in Belgium here we have a few global firms active in the securities markets, Euroclear, Swift, Bank of New York, very important too. And not to forget as well, in fact, the suppliers to the financial industry. From that perspective as well, it's important to realize that, of course, the financial industry in itself is very important to the economy, and therefore that's the reason why we want to focus on the financial industry. Secondly, of course, they are subject to a lot of regulations, and as I said, we wanted to use Brussels as a platform to expand Vlerick's recognition, its international brand. So therefore, the regulatory environment is very important for the financial sector. And finally, I have to say as well that, of course, we try to cover all the stakeholders, not only, of course, the financial institutions, but the regulators, the authorities, all the different stakeholders involved in the financial industry. So far, of course, we have started more than a year ago. In the beginning, the concept was very new. A sector approach wasn't something that was not done before by the Vlerick Business School. But now we see quite a bit of attraction to this concept. Institutions like the idea of having a very interactive approach with a specific sector. And that translates into, in fact, we have been able recently to add a number of new chairs or prime foundation partners or knowledge partners that are very important in terms of partnership relationships with the industry. It's very important. It shows, in fact, the institutions see the potential, and of course it's up to us to then deliver. In terms of so far what we have accomplished, we've done already quite some research in different domains. For example, the performance of the banking industry that we've done with a partner, and the outlook for the future. We've done studies on the compensation and the link of sales agents to the products they sell. So that's a few examples of what we've already done. There are a few additional ones in the pipeline, like, for example, impact of Basel regulatory development on long-term infrastructure investments. Technology, for example, the use of big data is very important as well to help companies to, in fact, to get close to their customers, better profile their customers. So that's one example in terms of research. In terms of education, of course, we are reviewing several programs and make them more specific to the financial industry. The other thing we've done as well is organizing events to have interaction with the market and have debates and discussions. One is, in fact, in the impact of new regulations, something we've done with A.T. Kearney. Policy and practice. Another one is, in fact, showing, in fact, the results of a chair, like what we've done the performance of the banks and the outlook from CEOs. And we do quite some publications as well. We have launched a year ago, and now we have our third edition of what we call Dialogue, which is in fact a publication of articles from market practitioners and from academics, so that we show both perspectives on issues that the industry is facing today. The ambition of the center is in fact to become a recognized expertise center in the financial industry, to really be able to contribute to sustainable value to be created in the market through a very interactive, in-depth, but of course very objective approach. That's our ambition, to really serve as an expertise center where the value is really recognized by our clients. The Vlerick Business School will do that as well for other sectors, and the purpose is of course as well to cross-leverage some of these knowledge in sectors to see to what extent best practices can be transmitted to other ones. So that's our goal, that's our commitment.